In this video, I'm going to tell you how I photographed the tancho cranes of Hokkaido. The tancho cranes are red-crowned cranes. In fact, tancho means in Japanese red-crowned or red-headed. These are also known as the Manchurian cranes or Japanese cranes. There are migratory populations of these birds that breed in Mongolia and northeastern China and Siberia, but this population lives in Hokkaido year-round. These are some of the rarest cranes in the world. There are estimated to be less than 3,000 in the wild, and that includes approximately 1,000 living in Hokkaido. Often when you photograph birds, it's interesting to show things that you can't see with the naked eye. So for example, up-close photos that show detail of the eye, or the beak, or the feathers of the bird. And of course, it's always great when you are photographing birds if you can manage to capture some photos of the birds in flight. I had some opportunities to do that, and I was pretty happy with the results. I was able to get detail that showed the head and the eyes and the beak and the feathers of the birds, and I was able to get photos that showed different positions of the wings. And generally this was pretty easy to do compared to photographing small birds, because they're much slower and they're much larger. You can see them coming, and it's much easier to track them. And you can see what that looked like to me. So this is a view from on top of my camera, and you can see how far away the birds are, but of course a telephoto lens lets you get up really close. So while I managed to get photos showing close-up detail and birds in flight, that wasn't really what made this experience so special. What's interesting about these birds is that they dance. These birds mate for life, and the dancing is part of a ritual between pairs of birds that strengthens the bond between them. The footage you're seeing here was taken at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was very early. It was very, very, very cold. The idea is to get there early enough to set up so that you can see the cranes in the distance in the fog as the fog lifts and the sun rises. Now the thing is that when the fog is so heavy, it's very difficult to get any detail of those birds in the photos. But what you can get is these wonderful, magical, environmental portraits showing the birds dancing in the fog. So what you'll see is that the fog gives the photos a texture that's almost like a watercolor painting. And these photos might remind you of Japanese or Chinese or even Korean paintings featuring cranes just like these ones. I had a very similar experience at a different location where I was trying to photograph the cranes and having to deal with quite a lot of falling snow. And what you'll see is that in the photos, the snow also has a very similar effect to the fog in that it blurs a lot of the details. But these are definitely my favorite photos that I took of the cranes. I was able to capture them in so many different poses dancing. And there was a wonderful space off to the right where I was able to get these really big scenes, and I would be lucky that sometimes there would just be one or two or maybe three cranes, and I could compose with them right in the corner of the frame or somewhere in the frame that just made it a really wonderful environmental shot. So I hope that you enjoyed this video about my time photographing the tancho cranes in Hokkaido. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. I've got lots more content coming. I'm actually just pushing this video out right before getting on a plane this evening to go to Kenya. So I'll be in Kenya and Tanzania for the next few weeks, and I hope to have some great stuff to post when I get back. See you later.